Talkur Mehta was a fisherman for nearly 50 years. Now he is too frail to go to sea, but he embodies half a century of hard-earned experience, and Talkur's culture acknowledges the value of that. Goans grow old with dignity. It is a lesson the world could well afford to learn. In fact, must learn. For each month, 1 million more people the world over reach the age of 60. And those age 80 and above already comprise the fastest growing population group on Earth. Some of them will be in need of care and support. All of them will be in need of ways in which they can retain their independence, their pride, and productivity. At a small senior center in a poor section of Brooklyn, New York, young people and the elderly have found a place where human energy flows in both directions. Alma Washington is 68. She has been a volunteer for 7 years, helping senior citizens and troubled youths as well through an innovative intergenerational program.
A lot of the young people today, their parents work. Well, and if it's usually a one-parent household. The kids, they roam, they do whatever they want to do. They're out there to do whatever they want to do. The program is a good program because they're not in the street. And while they're in here, I myself am going to try to make sure that they learn the right thing.
Young and old work side by side, and each learns something from the other. Kayron is 20. She works at the center mornings and goes to school in the afternoon. She was about to drop out of school when she entered the intergenerational program.
When I first came, it was like, no, I don't want to be there with those old people. They are aggravating. They're going to get on my nerves. They are grouchy. They are everything negative. But when I got to the door and I didn't have a smile on my face, I was greeted with, "You can't come in here like that." And I'm thinking something was wrong with my appearance, not knowing that it's just my facial expression. And then they told me I have to smile. And I noticed when I smiled, they smiled. I was like, okay, it's going to be all right.
When I first came here and met Kayron, she was very troubled. But I didn't know how much trouble she was having at home.
My mother was never there for me when I really needed her. Never. That was the part that really hurt me, too. I used to come in here crying sometimes.
I find that a lot of times young people are able to speak to somebody else besides their own parents a little better. And I thank God for giving me the strength and the ability to listen and to be able to talk to them.
Ms. Washington, she's my father, my mother, my grandmother, my grandfather, my aunts, my uncles, everybody. She is everything. I love the woman, boy. I never told her. I think it's time that I do, too.
In a region ravaged first by civil war and then by a fatal disease, entire villages have disappeared. The fabric of society has been torn. A generation has been decimated. Families have been left with no support but old women. Divina Namuli has no time to waste. Before she is gone, she must teach the children how to tend the banana trees, how to harvest and prepare food, how to care for themselves. In the years when life was meant to slow, she has become a woman in a hurry.
This village has been in the middle of a famine. The hunger was terrible. Most of the time I tried to cook some fish to feed the children, but I also have a little garden in the backyard, and I can grow enough to keep us going.
Here, as in other parts of the world, circumstances have placed a brutal burden on the basic concept of family. Whether because of poverty or political strife, social upheaval or shifting cultural values, the thread that binds child, parent, and grandparent is stretched dangerously thin.
I try to do everything I can for the children, but soon I will no longer be able to dig.
Cheya Sami survived the years of the Khmer Rouge by claiming to be a fruit vendor rather than a dance teacher. For in 1975, the Khmer Rouge set out to purge the country of its past, to destroy the culture against which they were revolting. During the 5 years of the killing fields, 90% of all the classical dancers and dance teachers in Cambodia were either killed or fled into exile. An entire art form virtually disappeared.
Our classical dance was handed down from generation to generation from our ancestors, the very people who built the ancient temples. That is how I learned the movements. There were no written documents, no recorded body of knowledge. It was a living tradition. So the temples of Angkor and the dances of the young women are pieces of the same cloth. They tried to destroy the people who knew the dance, but I survived to keep the heritage alive.
Chea Sami is 75 years old, and she needs at times to lean on the arms of the young. But she is also an archer of the ancients, launching youthful arrows of beauty and grace from deep in the past, far into the future.